And we're alive. Okay. Well, here we are on a day that ends in Y in still sunny Southern California. It's about to be sunset very, very soon. It's getting later and later and later, which I love absolutely and adore. And so without further ado, let me go ahead and share my slides with you. We're going to talk about what are the patches made of and how to get this cellular repair by activating your original master smart cells. Let me move a few little things around here, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions too. If you want to ask a question, just raise your hand, or I will allow for some time during the presentation for you to ask questions. And you can also type questions in the chat too. All right, so let's jump in here. And I want to invite also our viewers both as well, on YouTube as well as Facebook. Of course, first of all, I'm Dame Lillian Walker. Of course, I am your stem cell activation specialist. I want to invite you guys. We have an event that's coming up here April 27th. It's going to be in the EE system on April 27th. It's going to be going from 6 p.m. till 8 a.m. It is an overnight retreat. So you'll get to do a both and where you will be under the EE scalar energy system. There's 26 screens in that room, and we will be doing giving the same information that you'll be experiencing here, as well as patching everyone who is in attendance. It's capped at 10 people maximum. So there's only 10 spots available. And what else can I tell you about that? And there's a few other little surprises that attendees will get. It's going to be here in downtown Huntington Beach, right off of Main Street. So if you're interested, make sure to let me know. It's going to be a very, very fantastic event. Okay, so we're going to talk about the mother cell activation patch. I'm going to start off with the mother cell activation patch. I hope you like my cute little GIF here. I think he's loads of fun. And before we do that, I want to give the disclaimer because we do have a great relationship with the FDA, and we want to make sure that we maintain that great relationship with the FDA. And that is that the patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. We do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer protocols, because as you may or may not know, only pharmaceuticals can do that. And this is not a pharmaceutical. So the suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and any treatment needed. No medical claims are being made. This life-saving technology was not made for a particular condition or for any kind of diagnosis. These are general wellness products. So they repair, restore, and regenerate the body to a younger, healthier state, no matter whether you've had trauma or you've had toxification. And that will make much more sense as we go along in the next hour. All right. These are FDA registered products, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration just recently took a different position. Our products are made in FDA registered facilities, and they inspect us every other year. And this last fall in August, they took the position that claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products, will be regarded as drug claims, which is kind of interesting to say the least, because last time I checked, I don't think my muscles or bones were products, but they can do whatever they want, right? They're the FDA, so we get to follow the rules. They get to make the rules. So they also assert that claiming that the use of light, even light that's coming from our own bodies, not light that's outside of our bodies, they're saying that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides such as GHK2 copper peptide, that it's inappropriate for a general wellness product. So as a result, we can no longer call these stem cell activation patches, even though forever we've been calling them that. So now we have to call them cell activation patches, or we can call them phototherapy patches or photobiomodulation patches, or just flat out patches. We just can't call them stem cell activation patches, even though we do have 90 clinical studies, scientific research papers with double-blind placebo that were done in the United States, Europe, and Asia. And not to mention, we have over 120 global patents that are filed in the US and 82 countries. You can only imagine the red tape and the expense that it costs to jump through all those hoops and all those lovely governments. So anyhow, so just in an effort to give you full disclosure, I will tell you what we can and what we can't say so you get the whole picture. Does that make sense? Okay, so how is this all possible? So in order for us to uncover and reveal to you how this is possible, we have to go back to 1973, which was half a century ago. And 1973, Dr. Lauren Picard, not to be confused with Captain Picard of Star Trek, Dr. Lauren Picard, who's still alive, discovered that GHKCU copper peptide activates 1/3 of your previously dormant stem cells, turning your genes to a younger, healthier state. So that begs the question, what are stem cells? Oh, by the way, in a minute, we're going to be talking about what are the ingredients, what these are actually made up of. But what are stem cells? So just to kind of give you a little bit of a history and a little bit of a biology lesson, stem cells are pluripotent cells. Pluripotent simply means plural, as opposed to singular, right? And potent potentials. So something that is pluripotent means that it has many different potentials. So those stem cells that were there at conception are basically, in essence, your master smart cells. That's your original playbook that's been available since conception. And so every single one of your stem cells have the ability to create anything and everything that's needed inside of the body. And you can see here in this picture, in this diagram, they can create a cardiac cell, an enterocyte, which is a stomach or digestive lining cell, fat cell, red blood cell, bone cell, endothelial cell, skin cell, nerves. It's got all the information. Nothing is left out. And so if you look back at conception, when your mother's ovum united with your father's sperm, at conception, you now had complete information to the tune of 23,688 genes and stem cells, master smart cells that were there to grow you in your entirety into a little embryo so that 6 to 8 weeks later, we would evidence your life from your beating heart. Your brain's not formed yet, but your heart's already formed. And we can witness that, with an ultrasound. It'll be beating anywhere from 130 to 150 beats per minute, depending on if you're a girl or if you're a boy. Fast forward to 36 to 40 weeks of gestation, and now that embryo has now in effect grown into a fetus, and then shortly thereafter, you're a newborn baby. Now, those of us watching here at this moment in time, we take a few trips around the sun, and lo and behold, here we are on this Zoom call and YouTube watching this presentation, right? And it's good to note that when you're just the tender age of 25, I remember when I was 25 years old, oh my gosh, I was just barely getting used to being in a grown-up body. About 25, I was also getting married. And guess what? I was not aware that at 25, my fibroblasts were already starting to decline, even though it's just barely 25 years old, which makes a lot of sense because now that you know that, now you'll realize and recognize and understand that when you're 30, 50%, half of your original master smart cells, they turn off. Not because they're damaged, not because they're destroyed, not because they disappear. It's just that they go dormant as a function of aging. And for every decade of life that you remain alive, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of age, by the time you're 60 years old, you now have 90% of those original master smart cells. They simply go dormant just because of age. And now from the age of 60 until you hit that finish line, which could be at 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 115, 116. Actually, one of the oldest Californians, she's 116 years old. So I'll take it to 116. She's still doing fantastic. You only have 10% of your original master smart cells that will continue to replace, restore, and regenerate your body. pretty amazing if you think about it. That is until you apply a stem cell activation patch, right? Now, it's good to think about our body is just like a house. And if you look at inside your body, what you can equate your master smart cells to printer ink cartridges. So we all have printer ink cartridges. More of us are familiar with ink cartridges than we are stem cells. So if you think about when you have brand new ink cartridges, when you have 100% of the ink, you make a photocopy, and the color copy is indistinguishable from the original. And when you've used up 70, 80, 90% of your ink, and you only have 10% of your ink left, now the copies are faded versions of those originals. In fact, a black and white copy is oftentimes a very light gray and white copy. And in some instances, it might even be a pink and white copy. I've definitely seen that myself. Does that make sense? And so the same thing is true with your stem cells. As you continue to age, because you have incomplete information, you don't have 100% or 80 or 70% of the original cells. Now you have faded versions of the original cells until you apply a cell activation patch, which brings us to how do these patches work? Well, it works through the activation of GHKCU copper peptide, which activates the P63 protein. So this patch is just a mechanical device to activate your own original GHKCU that's already in your body, activating this protein that is going to turn on a third of your previously dormant master smart cells. Your body is literally the battery that operates this FDA-compliant Class 1 medical device. Pretty amazing. We are light bodies. And the ancients and the mystics have known for thousands of years that our bodies are, that we are light beings. Now, science is the contemporary language of mysticism. Science is only 300 years old, but the mystics and the ancients of lore have been around for 5,000 to 10,000 years. And so they've documented it by all sorts of different means that we are light bodies. But it's just been in the last 300 years that we actually have science where we have devices that can actually measure light, can measure all sorts of different things. And now we have this thing called the scientific method, where we have certain controls to repeat certain experiments to make sure that we have the same outcome over and over and over again. In fact, Dr. Lauren Picard's initial study of 1973 that he discovered that GHKCU copper peptide activates a third of your previously dormant genes, activating your genes and stem cells, that study has been replicated over 2,000 times. So it's a very well-documented finding. Thank goodness. And if you look at your body in terms of its light spectrum, it is infrared light that we have inside of our bodies, which happens to coincide with the light of the sun, because the sun is about 42% infrared light, and we're infrared light beings. So now, if you look at the mechanics of how this is actually working, let's take a look at a diamond crystal. We all are familiar with diamond crystals, and if I were to shine a flashlight on a diamond crystal, you would notice very quickly that as soon as I shine that light, instantly, the light is going to reflect back to my eyes, and it's going to reflect back all the different colors of that crystal back onto my eyes, right? Well, the same thing is true with this patch. This patch, if you look at the white dot in the middle, it's just a 3-centimeter sticker or Band-Aid, right? And in the middle, those are crystals that are reflecting back my own infrared light, or in your case, when you're wearing it, it would be your infrared light, okay? And so let's talk a little bit about that process of that light reflecting back onto the crystals and back. That's called photobiomodulation. Photo means light. Bio, because we're biological beings. Modulation means movement or change. So while phototherapy has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects, these patches have been specifically developed to reflect light, to mirror back just like a diamond crystal. The infrared and invisible, as well as visible light bands back onto the skin where the patches have been placed. So supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, the human body gives off a number of materials, including particulate release, gas emission, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and visible spectrums of light. This then stimulates that area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects. And there's been variations of phototherapy, also known as photobiomodulation. It's been used for at least 100 years. So let's talk about what's in the patches. What are in the patches? Well, there's organic sugar crystals. There's organic salt crystals, organic hydrogen, oxygen, and water crystals, and a proprietary blend of organic amino acids. And that makes up this little white dot. And then those crystals have been programmed at a very specific frequency. And then they've been arranged in a very specific geometrical grid pattern to create the effect of the mother cell activation patch, which is activating GHKCU. In the case of the daughter cell activation patch, this patch activates AHKCU. It's a different tripeptide, but a tripeptide nonetheless. And GHKCU and AHKCU activates our previously dormant cells. So let's talk about the first documented use of photobiomodulation, because most of us think and perceive that photobiomodulation is like this brand new shiny thing that is just, the newest kid on the block. But I think you'll be surprised to discover that the first documented use of photobiomodulation was in 1895. So not in the 2000s, not in the 1900s, but the late 1800s, 1895 to be exact. And in fact, notice that in 1903, Niels Reiberg-Finsen won the Nobel Prize for his research in using red light to treat tuberculosis of the skin. It's like over 125 years ago. It's pretty incredible if you think about it. And in his experiments with mice, he found that exposing them to red light reduced both their symptoms and mortality rate from lupus vulgaris. Now, on a side note here, I want to point out the fact that Niels Reiberg-Finsen, one of the reasons why he was so motivated to help people with lupus vulgaris and tuberculosis of the skin was that he himself had been suffering with lupus vulgaris, but because he made this discovery, he was able to relieve himself from lupus vulgaris and obviously increase his longevity and curb his mortality rate. And so he won a Nobel Prize for that, and that was over 100 years ago. It's pretty spectacular, if you ask me. So notice that these are non-transdermal patches. So a lot of us are familiar with hormonal patches, testosterone patches, estrogen patches. We're used to hearing about people who take patches to cease smoking, and those patches are transdermal. So that means that there is something transferring into the skin, into the dermis. So there's medicine in those patches that is absorbed by the skin. It goes into the bloodstream directly, bypassing your digestive system. These patches, on the other hand, are non-transdermal. They're non-invasive because although these crystals are all organic, nothing invades the skin. Nothing is absorbed by the skin. That's just a mechanical structure to reflect and mirror back, just like a diamond crystal. It's mirroring back our infrared light up to 4 inches deep. So it goes in through ligaments, through tendons, through muscle, through the bone marrow at the cellular level, and it immediately starts this rapid repair and regeneration. They're organic, holistic, FDA-compliant, Class 1 medical devices under the general wellness category. And we manufacture these FDA-registered, we manufacture these products at FDA-registered facilities in the U.S. Our facility in Ireland is actually registered with the Irish Medicine Board, and we manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device, and our facility in Ireland is actually ISO 9001 and 13485 compliant. And those are quality standards. So it's really important to be aware and to comprehend that it's important to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Now, people in the health and wellness and the health and fitness industry and in the anti-aging and longevity industry are very well aware of the fact that you have to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. High school and collegiate athletes know this. Olympic athletes know this. Professional athletes for sure know this. There's no question about it. But the average person may not be as aware about this. And for people who think that this is not a big deal, I can tell you why it's a big deal. First thing to note is that we're primarily water. And so you come out of your mother's womb where you were in an amniotic sac, right? And when you were swimming inside that amniotic sac, you inhaled and exhaled water. And you come out and are born, and you're about 82% water when you're a baby. Fast forwards to someone who is about 60 years or older, now you're about 55% water. But from the time you were conceived in your mother's womb, guess what? Your DNA is 92% water. So the primary structure that holds up your DNA is in fact water. Only 8% of your DNA is other. That's how important water is, structured water at that. And it makes sense once you're aware and you realize and recognize that your DNA is 92% water. That's the thing that holds up your DNA straight, tall, stable, and erect. You realize, wow, it makes sense that your DNA would be an energy amplifier. Cool to note. So what happens when you're 2% dehydrated? First thing that happens is that you feel thirst in your mouth. You'll feel parched. The other thing is that things inside your body, they start to shrink when you're dehydrated. So as soon as you start to feel parched, that DNA is starting to get compromised. The other thing that shrinks is your brain. Your brain is very hydrophilic. It loves water. It's about 75 to 80% water. And so when you get dehydrated, your brain shrinks. It doesn't work as well. A lot of people get headaches simply because they're dehydrated. The other thing that shrinks is your proteins. And when they shrink, they fold. Your proteins are the building blocks of your body. It's responsible for quite a few things inside the body. And when your proteins fold, they don't work properly. That's in fact the beginning of disease and all sorts of symptoms and the breakdown of systems in the body. And when you see what happens at 8%, I think you'll be quite astonished and disturbed. And you might be more mindful about making sure that you keep hydrated, because what happens at 8%, this is somebody who is 50% consuming water on a daily basis from the time they get up until they go to sleep. So you can tell that the DNA is standing straight, tall, erect, and it's stable. And it has that beautiful helix structure, which is like the figure 8, the way it's supposed to work and it's supposed to look. The person on the right is 8% dehydrated, and your DNA unravels. It literally starts to fall apart and starts to disintegrate at 8% dehydration. Not good. 10% dehydration, you lose your mind because there's not enough fluids moving through your brain for the electrical conductivity and the neurons to make contact with each other. And so you lose your mind. You cannot think. 12% dehydration, it's a hard body shutdown because you cannot survive 12% dehydration. So remember to drink your water every day. The other thing is, I tell people whether you decide to do, I would never tell you, get started today on the stem cell activation. I would never tell you, you've got to do this, you got to do that. Everybody's a grown-up. Everybody has free will. If God doesn't tell me what to do, who am I to tell you what to do? Do whatever you want. But if you want to do what's best for your body, even if you don't decide to do the stem cell activation, do be mindful about drinking good water and drinking 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water from the time you wake up until you go to sleep. Every time you drink water, you shouldn't drink it until you're full. You should drink it until you're satisfied. I recommend that you drink, mineral, mountain spring water, and that you preferably, before you drink your water, you might want to consider taking Celtic salts and putting a few crystals on your tongue, which will open up the electrolytes in your body. And because it's being directly signaled through your tongue, magnesium and minerals go into your bloodstream directly through your tongue instead of through your digestive system. And now when you go to drink your water, instead of the water dancing around the cells inside of your body, it will actually open up the permeability, the absorption by your cells of the water so that the water actually gets inside of your cells. And it'll prevent things like, you have some people who will have edema, they'll retain water, or they will have pitting of the skin because they have a lot of water in the body, but their body is still dehydrated even though they're retaining water. This is one way to remedy that. Okay, does that make sense? So we're going to move on to finding out how often are the patches going to be worn. Well, you're going to be wearing patches 12 hours on and then 12 hours off. So just as you have your sympathetic nervous system from sunrise to sunset, you're going to wear, let's say from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., you'll apply the patches. And for the next 12 months, you'll be applying those patches, signaling 1/3 of your previously dormant stem cells to repair, restore, and regenerate your body to a younger and healthier state. And then after those initial 12 hours, you're going to have your alarm go off on your phone and it'll say, remove patches. So at 9 p.m., you remove the patches, you discard them, and now you're going to match your parasympathetic nervous system, which is from sunset to sunrise. That's the rest, repair, and restore cycle, equally as important at the 12 hours that you're signaling your body. Because every time you put a cell activation patch on your body, it's like you're the general contractor and you're putting your troops, you're making 33% of previously dormant stem cells, which is your remodeling crew. You're putting them on the job. You're turning the light switch on your body. You have 33% more light, 33% activity, 33% more growth and regeneration going on. And then after 12 hours, everyone, it's time to go to sleep, time to go home. You remove the patches, and now that remodeling crew gets to rest, repair, and restore until the next morning that you hire them back on again. Without your being on cell activation, your body is normally on a 7-year cycle to replace all 56 trillion cells that you have in the human body. We normally replenish about 2 billion cells a day. That's 2 billion cells that are turning over every day. Damaged cells are gotten rid of through urination, defecation, and perspiration, and then new cells are replacing them. And it will take 7 years to replace all 56 trillion of those cells. So that right now, as you're sitting here before me, the youngest cell in your body is milliseconds old. The oldest cells in your body are 7 years old. So none of the cells that you have here right now, from your bones to your hair to your skin to any of your tissue, none of them were around 8, 9, 10, 11 years ago. They're all less than 7 years old, until, that is, you apply a cell activation patch. Now, once you get started on this cell activation, now over the next 12 to 18 months, the majority of those 56 trillion cells are going to turn over so that at the 12-month mark, your cardiovascular system will actually be anywhere from 16 to 20 years younger. How do I know that? Well, I know that because we measured it. We have measured it, and we have many, many, many studies, as well as many, 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 many people who have had their blood tests and biomarkers that have measured their entire bodies. And for example, we also have like Stacy, who after 1 year of being on the patches, she was 48 years old. She was about to turn 48 years old. She was concerned about menopause, perimenopause, premenopause, wondering if that was something that was going to be coming soon or if she had already started that, unbeknownst to her. And when we did her biomarkers, it revealed that she was barely 30 years old biologically, even though she was turning 48. September 23rd, because her blood test was done in August. And then she said, I wonder if I could turn it back to 25 years of age. Well, no one knows the answer to that question, but she continued to wear the patches. I honestly thought she was going to keep wearing do another blood test the following August, but she didn't. That March, she decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have my blood and biomarkers done again. And lo and behold, guess what? Ta-da! The biomarkers showed that even though chronologically she was over 48 years old now, biologically her body was behaving like a 25-year-old body. So she's nowhere close to being anywhere Like, she's kicked the can down another 20 years as far as perimenopause or premenopause is concerned. Pretty exciting if you think about that. In her particular case, every time I've seen her over the last 2 years, she keeps shrinking and she looks younger and younger and younger and younger, and she sounds younger too. And when I met her, even though she was 48, she looked like a 50-year-old woman. And now, I'll show you a picture of her in a little bit. And now she looks like a 25, 30-year-old, and she's older now. She's 50, but she just turned 50 last September 23rd. Kind of interesting. Okay, so let me share with you about this gal who had scoliosis. So because of the regenerative nature of your original, you're not activating those master smart cells from birth. You're activating those smart cells from conception. So anything structural, any toxification that you've had by whatever means, any damage either from surgeries or from accidents, doesn't matter. Those get repaired and restored. So here we have a young lady who clearly had a severe curvature of the spine. You can see that her shoulder blades are protruding, they're sticking out. Her right shoulder is lower than her left. She's definitely leaning to the left. You can see the nice, curvature of her waist here on the right, not so much on the left. She had some pretty good back pain at the time when she started. And just 4 weeks later, look at how much straighter her back is. Pretty impressive. Her shoulders are almost level, and you can see how her shoulder blades are not sticking out the way they used to before. That's just 4 weeks of being on the mother cell activation patch. And we have a whole suite of patches, and all of them repair and restore and regenerate your body, except this one, Ice Wave. It's the only one we have that just turns off. The therapeutic effect is that it turns off your pain receptors, while the other patch is doing this rapid repair on you. Just a little reminder to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water from the time you get up until you go to sleep. So for someone who's about 150 pounds, that's going to look like 150 divided by 2, it's 75. So 75 ounces of water, that's about, if you look at an Arrowhead bottle of water or a Sparkletts water bottle, they're about 15.9 ounces. So 5 of those would be the 75 ounces, which is about 2.2 liters of water a day. So you can easily see, well, gee whiz, it's pretty easy to drink a bottle like right after you get up, another bottle late morning, bottle early afternoon, another bottle late evening, and another bottle before you go to bed. That's something that pretty much everybody can do. So if you weigh 200 pounds, then of course you would be drinking 100 ounces. It's always 50% of your weight in fluid ounces of water. So here's my buddy, Barry, poor guy. When I first started him on the patches, he had suffered for 18 months with headaches, nausea, terrible fatigue and stamina. He would wake up every morning with headaches, and his insomnia was insane. Nothing he tried would get him to sleep. He was miserable, and he was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So I told him, Barry, we got to get you started on these patches. And he said, absolutely. He's in Canada, by the way. So we sent the patches up to him in Canada, and we immediately started him on June 23rd that afternoon. It was like between 3 and 4 or 5 in the afternoon. We started him on the patches. Typically, the instructions say they're morning patches. So you're going to put, for the most part, most of these patches, you're going to be putting them on in the morning. And then you remove them 12 hours later at night. Except we have a few patches like Silent Nights, which is for insomnia. And then we have another patch called Alavita, which activates your pineal gland, which melatonin is produced from your pineal gland, and melatonin will put you to sleep. Serotonin will wake you up. So those 2 patches you wear at night. Everything else you can wear daytime or nighttime. But in his case, he hadn't slept in 18 months, and he was in bad shape. He was in pain. So I said, listen, rather than wait till tomorrow morning to put these patches on, I want you to get a good night's rest. So let's just start you now. So we started him on the patches that afternoon on June 23rd. And I told him, tomorrow at this time, 24 hours from now, I want you to report back to me. Let me know how you're feeling, what your sleep was like, and just kind of give me a read on how your body's responding. And so this is the text message that he sent me. And it says, hey, Lillian, just a note, don't know if it's a placebo or if the stem cell activation patches actually work that quick or what, but I had really good sleep. Pause button. wait a minute, this is a guy who hadn't slept in 18 months, and now he's saying, I got really good sleep. A little better sleep than other nights. I fell asleep quicker. Today I'm just on a high. This is a guy who had no energy. He had terrible fatigue and no stamina. And now he's like, I'm just on a high. I'm ecstatic. And Gwen sees that in me. And I feel really, really good physically when I woke this morning. No headache, no nausea. He went from waking up every morning with headaches and nausea. Now he has none. Thank you. And no nausea. Yeah, it's been a phenomenal day. So thank you, and I'll update you as we go along. Hope all is well. Thanks. Bye. Well, to say that I am thrilled for him is an understatement, because that's a personal friend of mine that I've known for several years. And to know that I was able to, in essence, I got to be Santa Claus, like I'm Santa Claus here for you guys. I got to share this life-saving technology with him. And now he's telling me, oh my gosh, this is making a huge difference in my life. I feel so much better. I also get to be the little kid under the Christmas tree going, whoopee, whoopee, whoopee. So I was just thrilled that I was able to provide relief for him. So here's my other friend, Kathy, and she started, Kathy's a professional skydiver, and she does formations daytime and nighttime. And one of our mutual friends, Annie, was able to get her started on the patches. And in January of 2022, she was 62 years old, and she had been suffering for 33 years from 3 breast implants. She had severe autoimmune disorder. She had a lot of aches and pains and all sorts of things that were really burdening and plaguing her. She was very wrinkled at the time. She's not wrinkled anymore, but at the time she was. And so when Annie started her, she told her, listen, Kathy, you got to take a picture now and every 30 days after, so that you can document your progress. So she said, sure. So she did that, but she would not take a picture of her face. She's never any social media. She doesn't have a Facebook profile picture of her face. She just doesn't do that. So luckily she did take these pictures. So in January of 2022, this is what she looked like. This is what her neck and her chest looked like. You can see she had a lot of wrinkles, and those aren't fine lines and wrinkles. Sorry, Kathy. Let's call it like it is. Those are pretty severe wrinkles and age spots that you have there on your neck and your chest. Just 3 months later, she had a pretty significant improvement. 6 months later, she had no wrinkles and just a hint of lines. 7 months, wrinkles, lines, everything gone. Not just her neck and her chest. It was throughout her entire body. Well, guess what? She posted this in October of 2022. And so I immediately shared it to my Facebook page, and then I reached out to her and I said, listen, we got on a Zoom call like this. I said, oh my gosh, those pictures are fantastic. I said, would you, send me a profile picture? And she's like, no, remember, I don't do profile pictures. I said, okay, that's cool. I go, you know what? I'm sharing this on my Facebook page, and my friends know that this is legit. But if I were like, when I go to share it, then people are going to share it on their page, who are going to share it on their page. If I was a friend of a friend, I'd say, oh, those were Photoshopped. There's no way that could be true. Definitely has to be Photoshopped. So would you come on my Zoom and YouTube so that you can share about your story so that they can hear? Because people are seeing this, which is impressive, but really the big news is that you don't have any autoimmune symptoms of any way, any shape, way, or form. And that's like really the bigger story is, you suffered with autoimmune disorder for 33 years, and now all of that went away. And people will see on the Zoom that you actually match these pictures. So she said yes. So you can see the video. In fact, I have queued up. If you give me a second, I will show you. I did a YouTube short based on that video not too long ago. Let me see if I can share this. I will share with you. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So this, you'll see that this matches not only her picture, but also that. Oh, my glasses on, so I'm not. Okay, here it is. So I'll just play 30 seconds of it. We don't have to watch the whole thing. And the other thing is, I don't talk about much, but she happened to just be surviving a skydiving accident. So here she is.
We both are active in the same discipline of skydiving called canopy formation.
So you can see, I can't alter the video to make her look better than what she is, just like this video. This is what it is, right? You can see that she matches where she doesn't have any wrinkles on her face. She doesn't have any wrinkles on her neck or her chest. To me, she looks like she's a 35, 40-year-old, but she's 64. When we did this, she was 63. So, because it was a year after she'd been on the patches. And now she's 64 years old, but she doesn't look like a 64-year-old. Does that make sense? Okay, let me go back to the slides so I can share that with you. So that's pretty exciting. And we've seen tons of people experience that, men and women alike. It's not just women. All right, so here, this is my story, and I've had YouTubers who have invited me on to share my story because you're looking at a girl who had brain damage. I don't have brain damage anymore, but I did. I suffered with brain damage for 5 very long, painful years. And I was hit by a bus just 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride. And I not only had brain damage, I lost all of my short-term memory. Point of impact was the bottom left of my head and my lower back. And I suffered a neck injury. My C1, C5, my C5, my C6 disc and nerves were like blown out, L1, L5 in my back, and a leg injury. And all these neurological symptoms that came about as a direct result of that accident. So if you want to hear the whole story, the Wellness Superheroes on YouTube have a great interview about 9 or 10 months ago that they did where they featured my entire story. You can hear about those details later. But I lost 50% of my hair, and I had a bald spot when I started on the patches. And within 4 months, that bald spot filled in 70%, and I grew 3 to 4 inches of hair growth. More impressive than that, in my opinion, is that in the 3rd to 4th week of my wearing the patches, I got my short-term memory back, where I realized my memory is better than it was when I was a pre-med student at USC. And in the moment that I had that thought, I realized, oh my gosh, I remembered that when I was in kindergarten, my kindergarten year in November, I had eye surgery and I was in the hospital for a week. When I was in the hospital for a week because of the eye surgery, they operated on both my muscles on both left and right eye. So I had my eyes packed. I was in darkness literally for a week. And I realized, oh my gosh, when I was 5, that was the first time that I'd undergone general anesthetics. And I realized, oh my gosh, when I was 5, that was my first traumatic brain injury. I just didn't know it. So there are 4 things that happen to you when you undergo general anesthetics. So I tell people all the time, and I have anesthesiologists that I have patched who are part of my group now. And there's 4 things that an anesthesiologist does when he puts you under. 1, amnesia. They wipe out your memory. 2, hypnosis. 3, analgesia. They turn off your pain receptors. 4, they paralyze your body so that the surgeon can do the very precise work that they need to do without you flinching, hiccuping, sneezing, coughing. You don't move at all, right? So they can do their precise work. And when they do that, then they have to lower your vitals, lower your pulse, your respiration, your blood pressure. They end up, as they put you with lower vitals, you deprive the brain from oxygen, and that's where you suffer an inadvertent traumatic brain injury. And for every hour that you're under general anesthetics, your brain suffers oxygen deprivation, okay? So I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, when I was in kindergarten, that was my first traumatic brain injury. That means that I never had the benefit of having my entire memory during my entire academic career. And so that's why here I am now, 3 going on 4 weeks, being on this cell activation, and my memory is better than it's ever been in my entire life. It's because it got reset, and the brain damage from both incidences and anything else that I've endured, the bell was unrung. And now I was making my way reading through all 90 clinical research papers for the patches. And I was remembering word for word, verbatim, the abstract, and I could quote the key words of that paper without having to effort. I didn't have to memorize it. I didn't have to learn it. I didn't have to, do a lot of things, which normally that's what I would have had to have done. All of a sudden, just my reading it one time and going, oh, I got to remember this. Then boom, that same day, I was able to recite the 4 keywords on that paper that impressed me were organic, nanotechnology, photobiomodulation, and acupuncture points. And I thought, wow, those are great keywords to express and to convey to people what these patches are and what they do. And then the abstract, it happened to be on the pain management patch, which turns off your pain receptors. And it said that the ice wave stem cell activation patches, using organic nanotechnology, applying photobiomodulation on traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points, had a significant effect in turning off the pain receptors in all of the subjects, anywhere from 50 to 100% within 3 to 4 minutes. And they found that to be true. And I thought, oh my gosh, if you've ever read research papers, you'll see that some of them are 2-3 pages long, some of them are 40 pages long, 50 pages long. Some of them, the abstracts are very wordy and convoluted, and it's kind of hard to distill exactly what it is that they're trying to show that they're proving. But this one was very clear and concise and very user-friendly, which is why I wanted to commit it to memory. So I knew I was going to have to learn it. I was going to have to memorize it. I thought I was going to have to do a lot of my typical effort to remember it, recall it, and recite it. And it turned out, reading it one time, boom, right as I was speaking, it was the morning when I read the paper. Later that afternoon, as I was on Zoom calls, somebody asked me about, because I had pain in multiple parts of the body, and I immediately was able to recite that effortlessly. And I'm not the only one who's had that experience, which is another cool thing to be able to be aware of. So that's my story, or part of my story, I should say. And the same thing is possible for you as well. I know that Carol has also experienced some of those benefits too. Here's a gal, her name is Gail Henry, and she had a severe curvature of her spine. Terrible, terrible pain. So much curvature of the spine that she had a fold of flesh on her back. Less than 2 months later, greatly improved curvature of the spine, more normalized, fold of flesh gone. Look at her skin texture. She had a lot of oxidative stress in the way of freckles, moles, angiomas, cholesterol spots, etc. Look at how much clearer her skin is, just 2 months after being on the patches. Pretty amazing, huh? So the short answer to what these patches do is they activate your original master smart cells, repairing, restoring, regenerating your body, head to toe, front to back, left to right, all full fail sweep. The more detailed answer for people who are more neuro nerds like myself who want to know the nitty gritty, this mother cell activation patch resets a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state because it activates GHKCU, copper peptide that's already in your body, turning it on, activating your original master smart cells, which then begins regeneration of your cells, replacing damaged cells, restores collagen, rebuilds scar tissue, reduces fine lines and wrinkles, increases energy, increases your sexual libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammatories. If you have pain, it'll provide you pain relief in 3 to 4 minutes, anywhere from 50 to 100%. Hair growth will be improved, like mine. I'm still growing new hair. I lost 50%. I have probably 70% of my hair back or more, which is pretty cool. And people experience deeper, sounder sleep. In order for you to be able to activate your GHKCU copper peptide, you have to be in a REM state of sleep. So the patches induce that deeper REM state of sleep, which is why people sleep so good. Like I sleep so solidly, I sleep like a baby. It's pretty awesome. Like I mentioned too before about acupuncture points, we don't have protocols, but we do have a true plan of action using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points. And that's to magnify the effects of the patches on the body. You can put the patches anywhere on the body. Like Dr. Stacy says, I don't care where you put them anywhere on your body, they're going to work. You got pain, point to the pain and patch it. That's the best rule of thumb. All of our studies had all of the subjects apply the patches on 2 acupuncture points. If you take your dominant hand, touch the back of your neck, go to the bottom of your neck, the top of your spine where you feel that first bump, That's governing vessel 14. In my opinion, that's the most powerful acupressure point on the body. Use that for a lot of different things, but that's where your brainstem goes down into your spinal column. It signals your spinal cord, signaling your autonomic nervous system. And so now your autonomic nervous system signals your entire body. Very powerful point. The next spot is 3 finger widths below your belly button. That is your conception vessel 6. And that acupuncture point is responsible for all things related to conception, reproduction, your endocrine system, and anything digestive. So you can wear either of those 2 spots if you don't have pain. If you have pain, point to the pain and patch it. And I always offer people a patch placement call so that we can tailor the patches specifically for you if you would like to have a patch placement call. That makes sense? Another little reminder here to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Oh, and easy, one thing that a lot of us are concerned with, and a lot of women especially, is like, how do you get your metabolism to be quicker? So one of the things that I like to tell people is like, well, a very inexpensive, very fast and, effective way of increasing your metabolism is when you first wake up in the morning, before you go to the bathroom, if you have room temperature water, you already have it measured out the night before, you have it by your bedside. As soon as you sit up, drink water until you're satisfied. Now that'll activate your metabolism, breaking the fast from eating and from hydration. And now your metabolism starts to speed up because it goes, oh, she's hydrating us. Oh, we're getting nutrients. We're getting water, right? We're getting hydrated. So it starts to get things going. Otherwise, it doesn't get going until you take that first drink of water in the morning. So you want to do that first thing before you even get up out of bed and go to the bathroom. I always reach over, drink my water, and then get up, go do my business. So we have a silent thief, and I'm really big on making sure, and I hope that you guys share this with your friends too. If this is a big takeaway, I think the water piece is really huge, even for people who decide not to get, which most people do decide to get on the patches, but if you decide not to, just knowing the water piece is so important for your health and your well-being and your longevity. But we are all in an environment where we have a silent thief that is stealing from us every single day. And oh, by the way, did you know that the blue light in your environment, man-made blue light, destroys your DHEA fountain of youth hormone? Were you aware of that? That's right. The blue light screen has LED lights on your desktop, laptop, iPad, notepad, cell phone. Not to mention the LED lights that we have in our houses, from lamps to overhead lighting fixtures to recessed lighting, not to mention all your electrical components that you have in your house. Look at your kitchen alone. You have your refrigerator, your coffee pot, your electric water pot. You have your microwave oven, your stove, your Ninja, your food processor, your pasta maker, your bread maker. All of them have LED lights. But wait, there's more. Because you leave your house, you go out into public. It doesn't matter if you're at a supermarket, doesn't matter if you're at an office, at the airport, any place of business, they all have LED lights, 3 types of light. LEDs, fluorescent lights, and halogens. All of them have blue light, man-made blue light spectrum, light waves, which causes this DHEA fountain of youth hormone destruction, causes inflammation, and it causes insulin resistance. Gee whiz, no wonder we've had this explosion of pre-diabetes, diabetes type 1, type 2, type 3, gestational diabetes amongst pregnant women. Well, wait, but guess what? You get into your car's all LED lights. You jump on a plane, all LED lights. You jump into a boat, a yacht, a catamaran, a Duffy boat, all LED lights. You jump in a train, all LED lights. Construction workers are working on construction equipment, all LED lights. We don't use incandescent bulbs anymore. However, because like in California, you can't buy incandescent bulbs if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware Store or go to CVS or Walmart or wherever. So I order incandescent bulbs. Like you'll probably notice I have a little bit of a reddish hue whenever here I'm on these broadcasts, and that's because I have 4. I used to do 3 red and 3 clear incandescent bulbs, 3 infrared lights and 3 clear incandescent bulbs. And now I do 4 infrared and 2 clear incandescent bulbs. And it's much better for you because your body is infrared light. You can deal with the infrared light. Can't really deal very well with the blue light. However, you can offset that damage with cell activation patches. So for those of us who are on the cell activation patches, we have something to offset that destruction of DHEA, increased inflammation, and insulin resistance because we've got this rapid cellular repair. I do both ends. I do this and I change my light environment on purpose. So do you have any questions at this time that I can answer for you, Coach Love?
No, I don't. Thank you. Everything is just pretty straightforward.
Okay, I'm glad that you, and it could be that later on you might have questions that might pop up or, it's different for everyone. But so the number one question we get usually at this point is like, okay, well, this is fantastic, but how much does it cost? It's like, well, a lot of people would pay $1 million to get their eyesight back, to unring the bell of damage and toxins that you have in the body. This doesn't cost you $1 million. You're probably really well aware that traditional stem cell therapy is anywhere from $8,000 to $25,000 per IV session or injections and so forth. This you can get started for the price of a cup of coffee for just $5 a day. There's 30 patches, a 30-day supply in a sleeve, and it's $5 a day for the mother cell activation patch. Same thing, $5 a day for the daughter. So these two, 5 times 30 is $149.95. So basically for the two, that's $300 a month. That's the retail price. But we can get you started for, I could put you on a Dr. Wholesale pack, which is what I would do. And if you go to my site, of course, you'll see the retail price. And if you go to the retail price, you pay, the two of these would be $300. And then you have a mandatory auto ship that you have to be on. On the Dr. Wholesale pack, you save 30%. And instead of 2, you get 4 for the price of 2. So we could do these 2, and depending on what you got going on, I would add probably 2 of the 3 master antioxidants. So glutathione, which not only boosts your immune system, but that's your master detoxifier because we have so many toxins in our environment now and from what we eat. And then Eon, which is the master anti-inflammatory, and it's also the brain balancer. And if you have any kind of anxiety or PTSD or stress, it's going to lower your cortisol levels. We call it the happy patch because people legitimately feel happy when they're on that patch. And within 20 minutes of wearing that patch, if they were anxious, they get calm. And so it's a fantastic patch. So you would get all 4 of these for the $299. And then after that, the second month through the 12th month would just be $329 a month if you want to do the Fantastic 5. If you just want to do the mother and the daughter, that would be $179. I'm a big proponent of having people be on the Fantastic 5 because we have so many toxins. You do need to detox from all. That's another, I just did a talk in LA about how to detox organically. And we do have a real big problem with toxins. There's so many toxins that we are exposed to and we're not even aware of. We're just on the heels of having come off from the holidays. And I don't know about you guys, but I know I had apple pie, pumpkin pie. A lot of those pies are baked in aluminum tins, right? A lot of people will bake potatoes, sweet potatoes, bake turkey, ham, whatever kind of meats. They've got aluminum foil on it. Well, we know that we've known for like 25, 30 years that aluminum is a known neurotoxin. No question about it. We see how we've had so many more people over the last 20, 30 years that have come down with dementia and Alzheimer's. It used to be that nobody, it was very, very rare. When I was a kid and when I was in high school, even in my 20s and 30s, very few people ever, it was the exception to hear that somebody had dementia, senility, Alzheimer's. Now it's like, wow, so many people over 40, and 40 is not very old, but I'm going, wow. This is crazy. I'm seeing 40 and 45-year-olds with memory problems and brain fog and the beginnings of dementia. But when you start to see all these environmental toxins that are, like I said, you have the LED lights, and then you've got issues with the air, the food, the municipal water. Even if you don't drink your tap water, which most of us don't, you're still bathing in it, and you've got all sorts of radioactive materials and pharmaceuticals and plastics and things like that. So If you're interested in, some people tell me it's like, well, if I'm going to be on these in the next 12 months, what's the lowest price per patch? I said, well, then that would be the diamond pack, because then you would be buying in bulk. You're buying patches in advance, and then you're going to bring your price per patch down to about 50%. So instead of $5 a patch, it's about $2.49, $2.50 a patch. So that's basically it. So if you want to check out more information, because some people like to see the studies, or if you want to share that with your doctor, you can go to startx39now.com, and that will have all 90 of our clinical independent double-blind placebo studies, as well as our 120 global patents are posted there. That's an educational site. You can't buy anything there. So there's a 2-minute, 3-minute, 18-minute video, all the clinical studies and the patents. And there's a few testimonials. That's pretty much it, all on one page, easy to find, right? For people who want to get started, sometimes people are like, oh, this is fantastic. I got to run. I don't have a lot of time. I need to do another Zoom with you, but I don't have time now. Can you just tell me what you need from me? I want to go ahead and I want to get, I want to get the gold pack, or I want to get the diamond pack. I have to fill out this form here that looks like this. So all the questions that are here, which aren't that many, I just send it to you in a text message. So that's the to get started text. If you want to watch the replay of this video, you can always go to Love and Money Secrets TV. And that looks like this. For people who have a hard time remembering Love and Money Secrets TV, you can just go to my name, damelillianwalker.com on your browser, your URL, and that will take you to this YouTube channel, and you'll see the replay of this video. And this is one last little eyeball, exposure where you can see the bullet points of the patches. If you want me to send you the bullet points by text message, I can send you these bullet points by text message. Just let me know. And remember to get back to the person who referred you to this broadcast. How did you find out about this, Coach Love?
I was at a conference in LA.
Oh, the Biomed Expo?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you look familiar. Okay. I saw you at the Biomed Expo. Fantastic. Well, then, yeah, you're going to get that special, you get a little extra because you were at that event. So when we get you started here, whether you start with the silver pack or any of the packs, you're going to get this and you get a special gift. Were you at one of the presentations where I spoke and there was a little key? Because some people got the key in there.
Oh, no, I didn't get the key.
You didn't get the key? Okay.
No,
So,
I was working at one of the booths, so we were busy over there where we were too.
okay. All the same, you still get you get a different thing than the people who had the key, but you get an extra little special gift because you came from that event. So
Okay.
so you'll get a little bonus, which is pretty cool. Let me see. I think that's pretty much it for people who might be interested in the event that we're having in April. Thank you for your time and attention. And you've got my number. You have Lisa's number from the event.
I have Brianna's number.
You have Brianna's number? Fantastic. Okay, fantastic. Brianna, Lisa, yeah, those are my team members. So yeah, so just get back to Brianna, let her know that you saw this presentation tonight, and then I'll make sure that she knows that you get that special gift because you were from the Biomed Expo event. And that's basically it. And if you have any friends or family that you think that might benefit from this life-saving technology, Carol has an amazing story because she just started on the patches Tuesday, August 8th. Cheryl, do you want to share with Coach Love? She's had a massive transformation, so I want to let her speak for herself.
Well, for one thing, Coach Love, my sister's last name is Love. So it's a very familiar name.
Yes, Donna Love.
Donna Love.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as soon as when I first got on the patches, because I had a heart issue, which I'd never had before, but my husband passed away. It was a broken heart. So it was afibrillation. And within 10 minutes of putting the first patch on, that went away. And it was to the point where I was at a cardiologist, which I don't normally go and do, but that changed and has not come back. And they've changed all of that then I was, a couple weeks ago, I was just out for a walk and feeling really, really good. Getting these patches on is so simple. And so I went for a walk. I live in the country. Well, I ended up walking 10 miles. So, and felt better and better and better. And I hadn't been able to do any of that for quite some time. So what I saw was the value of the patches as I walked, because I'm used to walking long in the woods and things like that. So that was the one. And then my friend had a dirt bike motorcycle stored here at my place. So I got to ride it. I hadn't ridden before. And I'm going to be a dirt bike rider. I've decided I really got it clear, and I'm going to, because I have that feeling now, that energy. So they're fun. It's
And
fun.
she had never ridden a dirt bike before. And like 3 weeks ago, almost 4, when I was doing one of these Zooms, and she goes, "You'll never guess what I did yesterday." And I'm like, "What did you do?" I didn't know what she was going to say. And she said, "I rode a dirt bike." I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, "What? You did what?" She goes, "Yeah, my friend Dan, who he's on the patches too, goes, he's got a dirt bike. I decided, I want to jump on this thing and I want to ride it." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I want to ride a dirt bike now."
Yeah, you'll have to come and join us. I'm 84.
84, and she jumped on a dirt bike. And then a couple weeks, not even a couple weeks ago, about a week ago, she went for a walk. Did you tell her about your 10-mile?
Yes, my 10-mile walk. And I'm feeling very much alive. And what I'm realizing is, as Lillian pointed out, the stem cells are waking up. And by golly, my stem cells are waking up. Things are coming to me that I used to do when I was in my 20s and things like that. And so I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. I don't do anything like that. I just recognize it when it happens, and then I just keep going. So it's a lot of fun. And I realize that I do know a little bit about stem cells and understand how that's an aging process that we're putting a stop to. So I like it. Yeah, I like it. We're reversing it. Yeah. So yes, Miss Love, I will tell my sister Love.
So awesome, Coach Love. Well, I'm so glad.
And she's in Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Your story is very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me. It's very, very beautiful. Very inspiring.
You're welcome. It's fun. It's fun to have this awakening our bodies. It just feels, it's fun. It's not just worrying about life. It's just getting out and getting something new going again. And, it's like riding a horse. I'd like to get a horse.
And one of our patches, the Eon patch, we've nicknamed it the happy patch, because people legitimately feel happy. And I've had people like within 24 hours, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so much happier. And all I'm doing is patching. I'm eating the same. I'm not working out any differently." I'm like, and then some people on the 21st day, I get a lot of calls on the 21st day. They're like, and I had one guy, Isaac, he told his wife, "Jackie, is today our 21st day?" She's like, "I don't know. Maybe." He goes, "Look it up. I think today's our 21st day." He goes, "I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like euphoric and blissed out at the same time. I have energy, but I'm like super happy." She goes, "I feel that too." And that guy was recuperating from leukemia, and he had been in a car accident 5 months before we started him on the patches, and he had a shoulder and neck injury from being rear-ended while recuperating from leukemia. And he's feeling like happy, energized, and euphoric and blissed out. And his wife They're not sure if it's MS or if it's some other thing, but she went from being this Canadian soccer player, runner, to being in a wheelchair where she basically has an ostomy bag. She couldn't even, go to the bathroom on her own because she has no feeling. To in the second week, she no longer had to deal with that. She had regular bowel movements and could feel it. And she was feeling blissed out. They're like both on the 21st day. They're like, we need to get on a Zoom with you. We got to tell you what's going on. I'm like, okay. And I was like, wow. And so they're like both happy and all that. So yeah, it makes a difference.
It does make a difference. We smile a lot
Yeah, smile and laugh a lot.
and laugh.
We do. Okay, Coach Love and Carol, you guys have a great rest of your evening. You know where to find me tomorrow. You don't know this, Coach, but every day at 2 p.m. I come on here. I have office hours at 2 and 7 p.m. So at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. I will answer whatever questions you might have. We can do patch placement, and then we go ahead and we share this information about how to activate your smart cells using this life-saving technology. So you can always invite and introduce people to this call. Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
All right.
Maybe I'll see you again, Coach. I hope. Come on. When I'm home here, I get on this call with Lillian. I love it. It's just so much fun, and then I meet new people like yourself. So this is great.
Yes, I'm sure I'll be seeing you again.
Okay,
All
good.
right.
Very good.
Okay, beautiful. You have a beautiful rest of your evening. Keep smiling.
Yes, you guys too.